الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In continuation to our previous session, I believe that the brothers have more questions to be answered, and we would open the floor for those who would like to ask. So who would like to start? Yes, please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Eminence, what if someone has some sports activities during the daytime? I mean, if he's an athlete and this is his job. Or what if students have exams during the daytime? Are they allowed to break the fast or not?
This question, a lot of people ask the same question. See, it all depends on defining necessity. Is it necessary for you to break your fast, or is it unnecessary? And to know that, you have to have the balance. You have to put Allah's pleasure with the other thing you're asking about. So, is playing sport professionally overweighs Allah's pleasure? Definitely not. Okay, does exams overweight Allah's pleasure? Definitely not. So one would say, okay, what do? I do this as part of my job. I have to play sports during the day of Ramadan. I do this to pursue my career. I have to break my fast so that I could concentrate during my exams. I have to. This is wrong. Who said that you have to? Allah Almighty told you that you have to continue fasting. You have to fulfill His orders by fasting the month of Ramadan. He told you you may not fast. It's permissible for you not to fast if you're ill. And those who are playing sport are definitely not ill. He told you that it's permissible for you not to fast if you're traveling, but you're not. So on what basis do you want to break your fast for this reason? It is not a legitimate reason. So someone would say, okay, then this means that I may end up working as a janitor. I may end up jobless. Well, look at it in the other way. You have lots of BA and BSc holders that are jobless. It didn't help them. And on the other hand, you have a lot of people with intermediate or high school in good positions. So this is rizq. This is something that Allah provides people. You don't care about that. You care only about fulfilling Allah's orders. You only care about being a good Muslim and doing what Allah tells you to do. Along with that, sometimes being a professional athlete is a sin. If you expose your thighs, if you show the things you are told to hide, this is a sin by itself. If your sports involves harming people, hitting people, as in wrestling and boxing, it is again haram. One would say, why? I'm doing this for the sake of sports. Well, Allah tells you not to harm people. The Prophet ﷺ told us, do not hit the face. Do not spank the face. Even the father is not allowed Islamically to hit his son. The husband is not allowed Islamically to hit his wife on the face. It is forbidden. It's against Islam. So you have to look into your sports that you're doing. Of course, we're talking about males. Females, on the other hand, they're not allowed to expose anything of their bodies. They're not allowed to wear tights. They're not allowed to wear, as the case nowadays, you end up seeing women wearing the dress, the outer dress, the abaya or niqab or whatever, and it's so tight, it shows you her figure. And they think that they're doing the right thing by covering up. They're not covering up. They're exposing what is covered by wearing these tights. So you have to look into the sports you're doing. And this brings us to a scenario which was in France, England, and in Turkey, where women, where females were given the choice whether to unveil, to take off their veils and to expose their hair and body, or not to go to schools. And they were faced with this situation, whether to continue studying, but they have to take off their Islamic dress, their hair cover, their face cover, or to sit home without studying. And you used to ask, what do we do? You don't have to have an answer for that. It's logical. Don't go to school. And then one says, well, if I don't go to school, I'm not going to get a job. And if I don't get a job, she's not going to get married. And if she's not going to get married, who will sponsor her? And so on. These satanic subsequences, and this would lead to this. No, it's not this. It is not you that feed yourself. It is not you that gets this job or get this position. It is Allah that grants you that thing. So if you're okay with Allah, if you're on the right path, if you think 100% that it is Allah that does the job, and I do what I can do. That does not mean Allah does the job, sit home and say, oh, Allah Almighty, I would like a kid, but I'm not going to marry. So grant me this child. Oh, Almighty, I would like to be full. I would like to eat. I would like to drink, but I'm too lazy to go to the kitchen. No, this is not acceptable in Islam. You have to work, and Allah, with your heart connected to Allah. Do whatever you can with your heart connected to Allah, and whatever happens, be sure and have a sound mind that Allah Azza wa Jal chose the best for you. But this does not mean you can sin and say that my heart is connected with Allah. No, sins are not accepted in Islam, and it's not a justification for you that someone tells you, take off your veil so that you could study. And at the end of the day, they will tell you, and this happens in the West, and also in some Islamic countries, secular countries that is, they tell girls to take their veils, and they force them to get engaged with mixed classrooms, and they tell them that they have to swim in swimming pools, they have to do physical education along with the boys. Then it never ends, and one says, no, I have to. It's a necessity. She has to go to. No, she does not. You have to draw the line. If it's something forbidden, it's finished. It's over. It's haram. The second question, please. Yes, sir.
In the case of music, is it permissible in or out of Ramadan? Or
okay, a lot of people think that few actions that nullifies fasting, such as listening to something that is haram, looking at something that you're not supposed to look. You know, the sinful gaze. If you look at a woman that she is, you're not supposed to look at her. If you backbite, all of these are sins. And a lot of people think that these sins void your fasting. They nullify your fasting. So to answer your question, music during the month of Ramadan is not something that nullifies your fasting. Nevertheless, this does not mean it is permissible. This does not mean you are on the safe side, you can listen to music. Listening to music is forbidden. It is haram. And this is backed by the verses of the Quran. It is backed by the Prophet's hadith. And it is backed by the consensus of scholars. And to begin with the first thing, there are three ayahs, three verses of the Quran where Allah Almighty tells us that it is forbidden. And the most famous one is the 64th verse, verse number 64 of Surah Al-Isra. And check this out, Surah Al-Isra, verse number 664. This verse, Allah Almighty talks to Satan after he was condemned to hell forever, and he promised to try his best to divert Muslims from the right path. Well, to divert all humankind from the right path. Allah tells him, وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. Provoke whoever you can from them with your sound, with your voice. Mujahid says, one of the scholars who interpreted the Quran, he said that the voice and the sound of Satan is the music. And there are other hadiths, other verses. Also, the hadith, the Prophet told us that there will come at the end of time people from my nation who would think that adultery, wine drinking, intoxicants that is, silk, pure silk, and listening to music is halal. And they will do this, and they will commit this sin. And the four top schools in Islam, in the thought of Islam, which is Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, Al-Imam Malik, Al-Imam Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, and the Hanbali school, they all agree that music, listening to music is forbidden, is haram. During Ramadan, it's more haram. But out of Ramadan, it is haram. Simply look at those who listen to music. If you're driving a car and you have this music playing in your car, if it's like heavy metal, if it's hard rock, if it's something that has a quick tempo, a quick beat to it, you find that you're putting the pedal to the metal and you are speeding and you're zigzagging between cars and you're full of energy. Look at those who do aerobics. Once they put the music on, they're jumping from one place to another. They're so full of energy. Okay, next day, put the music off. They're able to do like 10, 15 minutes and that's it. And so I'm tired, I'm bored, I can't do that. Why? They get this power from Satan. They get this power from disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. On the contrary, again, it provokes you to do things that you don't want to do. If you're driving a car and you're listening to this, you know, mellow music, slow music, nice love songs, you would probably go like 10 miles per hour, people honking you behind you and giving you high beams and to clear the road for them. But man, I'm cool. I'm having a good time. I don't. It makes you angry. It makes you sad. It makes you happy. It makes you calm. This is music, and this is unacceptable in Islam. Listening to music is forbidden. It is haram. And this is backed by the verses of the Quran. It is backed by the Prophet's hadith. And it is backed by the consensus of scholars. And to begin with the first thing, there are three ayahs, three verses of the Quran where Allah Almighty tells us that it is forbidden. And the most famous one is the 64th verse, verse number 64 of Surah Al-Isra. And check this out, Surah Al-Isra, verse number 64. This verse, Allah Almighty talks to Satan after he was condemned to hell forever, and he promised to try his best to divert Muslims from the right path. Well, to divert all humankind from the right path. Allah tells him, وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. Provoke whoever you can from them with your sound, with your voice. Mujahid says, one of the scholars who interpreted the Quran, he said that the voice and the sound of Satan is the music. And there are other hadiths, other verses. Also, the hadith, the Prophet told us that there will come at the end of time people from my nation who would think that adultery, wine drinking, intoxicants that is, silk, pure silk, and listening to music is halal. And they will do this, and they will commit this sin. And the four top schools in Islam, in the thought of Islam, which is Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, Al-Imam Malik, Al-Imam Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, and the Hanbali school, they all agree that music, listening to music is forbidden, is haram. During Ramadan, it's more haram. But out of Ramadan, it is haram. Simply look at those who listen to music. If you're driving a car and you have this music playing in your car, if it's like heavy metal, if it's hard rock, if it's something that has a quick tempo, a quick beat to it, you find that you're putting the pedal to the metal and you are speeding and you're zigzagging between cars and you're full of energy. Look at those who do aerobics. Once they put the music on, they're jumping from one place to another. They're so full of energy. Okay, next day, put the music off. They're able to do like 10, 15 minutes and that's it. And so I'm tired, I'm bored, I can't do that. Why? They get this power from Satan. They get this power from disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. On the contrary, again, it provokes you to do things that you don't want to do. If you're driving a car and you're listening to this, mellow music, slow music, nice love songs, you would probably go like 10 miles per hour, people honking you behind you and giving you high beams and to clear the road for them. But man, I'm cool. I'm having a good time. I don't. It makes you angry. It makes you sad. It makes you happy. It makes you calm. This is music, and this is unacceptable in Islam. The only thing that is acceptable for you is to listen to the word of Allah, listen to the Quran, and this by itself gives you the comfort, gives you all the tranquility you want. But listen to music, it changes you. Look at the lyrics. Listen to the lyrics that you hear in today's song. Killing people, raping people, doing that, hitting them. It attracts and it encourages violence. And that is why we have violent people doing this. And those who sing, usually they are drug addicts. They have their record full with crimes, or they are known to have sexual relationship. And these are not idols for us Muslims. Our idols are different. Those who we look up for are way different than those who make music, listen to music. That is why it is forbidden for you to listen to music in or out. This does not mean Islam hates art, or Islam does not have a good taste. No, it does have a good taste. But our good taste is not like their good taste. If you sing without any musical instruments, that's permissible. If you say poetry, if you just use the lyrics with nice voice, that's permissible. You can do that. You can chant without musical instruments. But the music itself, the beat itself, the beat gets on your nerves and makes you do things that you were not supposed to do. The following question, please. Yes, sir.
Is it permissible to women to wear perfume and makeup in front of other people than her husband and her father and her brother?
Okay, I got your question. Women, men to them are divided into two sections. So if there's a woman and we have a group of men, part of those men are allowed to see her wearing her normal house dress, to see her hair, to shake hands with her, and those are called in Islam mahram. On top of them are the blood relatives that are the very close blood relatives that are the father, her brothers, her kids, children. Along with that is the husband, of course. He's the first one that comes to thought. Her uncles from her mother's side or from her father's side. They are all mahram. They can all sit with her and dine with her, talk with her, look at her. There's no problem. But the other part is all that do not qualify to be mahrams, such as a total stranger, her cousins. They may not shake hands with her or look at her or talk with her in private. Her brother-in-law, she cannot sit with her brother-in-law, although he is the husband of her sister or the brother of her husband. He's a brother-in-law, yet still he is a total stranger to her. He may not mix with her. So if a woman wants to wear her makeup or to put perfume to the first section, it's permissible. If my wife puts perfume for me, that's nice. If she wears perfume because she's in her father's house, her brother would smell it, her father would smell it, then that's acceptable. What is not acceptable for a woman to show this to a stranger who is not allowed to see or to smell that. So, and this is a serious thing. See, perfuming is nice. We are asked as men to wear perfumes so that people would find a good smell out of us. Women are also supposed to put perfume, but when they are excluded to the first section with their relatives who are allowed to smell that. It is not acceptable at all for a woman to wear perfume and go out on the streets or to work or wherever, and men, strangers, find the smell of her perfume. It is a sin. It is so grave and serious that the Prophet ﷺ told us that if a woman wears her perfume, and goes out of her house and passes by a group of men, and these men smell her odor, smell her nice perfume, she is as sinful as an adulteress. As if she had committed the sin of adultery. Why? This is normal in the West probably, but it is normal because their feeling towards women probably is much weaker. They've lost interest. That is why they're expanding now. Women are not enough. They're looking somewhere else. That's why we have homosexuality. That's why we have people banging animals and so on. And all of these filthy things that we, as humans, do not understand. But once you know their record, their track, you say, okay, that's good. It's to this limit. Now, where will they go next? In Islam, if a person does not send his gaze where it is unlawful for him, and he is in the middle of the street and this woman passes by, even if she is wearing the Islamic dress, but she is wearing a nice perfume, this smell would make him feel strange. It will attract him to her. And this is something we do not want in Islam. We want to separate women from men. Each have their own lives. And a woman may do whatever she wants with her husband, with her brothers, her sisters, a cousin, well, not cousins, uncles, children. She can do whatever she wants, puts whatever she wants, wear whatever she wants, providing that it is within the boundaries, Islamic boundaries. But to do that, to impress people, for a woman to go out wearing her makeup, people look at her and be impressed and maybe flatter her or do something or that. This leads to haram. This leads to adultery. Maybe not now. And this is also in the West. See, they are waiting for the right moment. Satan is waiting for the right moment to click. You may work with this female worker for 3 or 4 years. It never clicks. But eventually it will, when the right moment comes. And I think this is all the time we have for today's session. Until we meet, inshallah, next time. Fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.